Through the Decades is the largest card shop in America. The card market has been in a down cycle for the last 2 years, but despite this, Through the Decades has thrived. I want to find out how, so Alex, the owner of this shop, has agreed to give me a personal tour and reveal his secrets to growing a collectibles business. So folks, this here, the man of the hour, Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you.
How long have you guys been in this spot now?
We've been in this location a little over 2 years, and we've been in Louisville right at 12 years.
So you've been growing it gradually. I've heard from some people that this may be the largest card shop in the nation. Is that true? Do you have any idea?
I don't honestly know.
Okay.
I would say it might be close to the largest showroom. I'm sure there's some people that might have bigger back end than us, but for the viewers, it is 18,000 square feet.
Well, I'm already rubbernecking and looking around at all the different sections of this store. Do you mind giving us like a mini tour?
Of course.
As just the different kinds of product you're selling?
So quick, when you first walk in, if you go to the right, you're gonna hit gaming. If you hit left, you're gonna go sports. And as you go back, you're gonna kind of see where they kind of come together.
Yeah.
And I can kind of explain that as I go, but as a general rule of thumb, everything is a part of mine and everyone's that works here's childhood, which hopefully transitions into the customer's childhood as well.
Well, and my favorite part of the store, the video games, is also back there.
It
so
is.
I spent a good amount of time back there myself. Where do you want to start?
Let's just start, I always go to the right first.
Okay.
And then we can go our way around.
So let me ask you as we're heading over here.
Please.
Owning a card store is a profession that is very romanticized. It's easy to kind of build it up in your mind, right?
Sure.
Because everyone loves this stuff. What can you tell me about the day-to-day reality of running a shop like this?
I will kind of tell the story. It's probably been heard a couple times at this point, but I started my first business not to have bosses. You want to make your own decisions. You want to make your own calls. And in the end, the bigger you get, the more people you answer to, even if you own it. And I think that's the first thing business owners don't truly understand is that you have one boss or two bosses if you work for a company. And if you own the company, everyone that works for you is kind of your boss. Every distributor, every manufacturer, everything you want to go into is your boss. That door becomes my boss because some days I just spend all day working on it. And so it becomes the control of me. So I don't get me wrong, in the end, I love that I get to make my own decisions. But I think one thing, as you said, that's glamorized is that you're at the dependency of so many people. But honestly, the more I've done it, the more I kind of love that part of it.
Yeah.
You really get to see their dreams and what they want and what they want to accomplish. And I love being able to work with them to help them meet their goals. And I think that's the most enjoyable part.
That's so wise. I need to ask you more of that, but first, what are we looking at here?
So the first thing you'll see is sets from the earlier years, and then you'll see foils. Then it goes into, this is the beta case, this is the alpha case, and then behind you what Jeremy's going through is every one of our boxes. So every set that's ever been produced in Magic has its own 5-row. Everything is alphabetized from A to Z, obviously. So any card you might want to look at or ask for, we pull it for you.
Do you have any idea how many cards are in this store?
I have no idea. I don't even want to guess. I had millions upon millions, but I don't honestly know. I mean, you assume each 5-row holds between 5,000 and 7,000 cards. There's your starting point.
Oh yeah, because this is just one corner, so we'd definitely be looking at probably north of 10 million.
I don't even want to guess, but yes, I do think it probably is, but to be fair, most common cards are a penny or two. So it's not an incredible overall arcing value, but it is the fact that if you need it, we probably have it, we can probably fulfill it for you. So then you have each of the Magic sections divided by colors, so it's white, blue, black, red, green. Then you get multicolor, artifact, and land. And then on our walls are sealed product, which Monday is restock, so it looks like we haven't quite got to that this morning. But we like to have an open box and a sealed boxes of every product that's been out since Innistrad. We like to keep everything in stock as best as humanly possible. Obviously, we sell a lot too, so we're constantly reordering to make sure we keep it all in.
So that's our objective. Stuff would be over 10 years old then, right?
We're right at 12 years.
That's got to be super expensive to keep in stock.
It is kind of, yes. You could look at the 3 boxes. You have Avacyn Restored is 530, Dark Ascension's 340, and Innistrad's 1,000, give or take. Obviously, prices adjust normally and average, but that's about the ballpark of when we started, which those boxes were, I remember pre-selling Avison Restored for $90 a box.
Well, and what an exceptional service to provide people, because under any normal circumstances, you'd have to go online to get something like this.
You would.
But to be able to come to one place.
I'm huge on instant gratification, and I assume there's enough customers out there that have the same thing I do, that it's worth paying an extra $50 or $100 to be able to have it today, enjoy the item, and not have to wait for it to be shipped or delivered to you.
Totally, and especially with like some of these used cards, to be able to feel it, look at it, see like the condition that it's in and everything.
It's all what we want in this world. We don't want to order it. As much as I love online and what it does, and it's great for certain things, I think we're the experience.
Yeah.
You come in here because you want it now. You want to play in the tournament tonight, and you can walk in here and get it instead of ordering it and having to wait till next week to play. So that's why we take inventory so serious.
That's amazing.
And then you can see our overstock of sealed, so that moves up obviously as we stock. As you pass by is all the supplies, deck boxes, sleeves, binders, play mats, you know, everything down the line.
Does this stuff, I'm guessing because this has much more general appeal, does this stuff sell pretty quickly for you guys, the supplies?
I mean, we always say if this is your hobby, it is no different than if you're a car guy or if you video games or whatever, you're gonna take care of your product. And the best way to do that is sleeves, deck boxes, top loads, etc.
Yeah.
So we want you to be able to protect your investment, because it is. Think about if you were buying Innistrad 12 years ago, what your collection would be worth. Well, as a general rule of thumb, collectibles go up.
Right. And it depends on the condition that you keep them in.
And if you can keep it in good condition, your collection goes up more.
That's amazing.
So we encourage you to take care of your investment.
And another thing I wanted to ask about is this little section over here. You've got multiple of these, which is just massive. You call these 5 rows, right?
Yes, they are.
Boxes
That's what we call them,
of people to just go through.
So basically this might be foils, tokens, special lands, and each department has a different section. And they are honestly value conscious opportunities to get into the game. So, you know, if it's in a clear sleeve, it's $1, which is probably, you know, a better than bulk rare foil, but not as good as making it into our display cases. First register stand, and then our kind of high-end sealed product, if you will. So you'll go back to beautiful original Pokemon and revised.
Am I allowed to
of course
take a closer look over here? Some of these Pokemon sets really bring me back to my childhood, like Team Rocket. I opened those packs. Gym Challenge I absolutely loved. It's crazy, like even just seeing the artwork on those boxes, on those packs, it brings you right back.
It does. It just takes you right back to the flea market I remember walking into, picking them up. You know?
Oh my gosh. Ooh, and this too. Oh wow, the theme decks. That is crazy. I think I had literally every single one of those. The starter set over there, and a lot of them are still sealed. I mean, it's just incredible, the depth of inventory that you have amassed in this store.
It is. It's probably maybe a fault of mine because I like things so much.
Yeah.
But at minimum, I think it gives everybody an opportunity to see what is out there, what your current investment turns into, you know, where it can go, and you still get to do something with it while you go. You still get to play the games. And again, I don't want to imply everything goes up because that's not true, but most things do in this marketplace.
When people come to you and ask you about, like, it could be collectible cards, could be sports cards, Magic, whatever, as an investment, what do you tell them?
The same thing I would want to tell anyone who would listen is have a 401k, have a savings deposit. You need to have those things. These don't replicate that. But as a general rule of thumb, it will outrun most of those.
Wow.
But it doesn't compound interest like those. So it's two different things. So I want to be very clear.
That's fascinating, because that's something you don't normally think about, is the compounding effect.
The compound interest is why you have to have your 401k and your savings account and all of that. But this is still a fun way to spend your discretionary income while still having gains and get to enjoy the product while you're doing it. So most things you buy, a TV is a depreciating asset, but you like it because it entertains you. Well, this entertains you with still also the opportunity of an appreciating asset. So that's why I think it's one of the best things in the world. It really is.
Yeah.
It's tough to argue with how good of a deal it is.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about is you were talking about having so many bosses basically earlier on, from the door to all the employees to all the different elements that go into a business. And that really resonated with me as I've tried to scale my operation.
Sure.
Do you have any advice when it comes to like the people who are kind of in my stage of just starting out hiring?
Okay.
Because at this point you've probably hired, I mean, I can see here at least 5 people.
Sure.
What do you look for?
I think you have to look for them wanting your same end goal. General rule of thumb is I'm looking for somebody who's hungry. And I don't mean literally doesn't have money to eat. I mean somebody who wants more.
Yeah.
Because I want more. And everybody wants more. It's trained in us.
Right.
So you're looking for people who are ambitious. You're looking for people who are outgoing. You're looking for people that match enough with your end game, but see maybe the path is different because you might be missing. I learn as much from them as they learn from me. I can tell you how I did it and what worked for me, but that doesn't mean I didn't take the worst path and just end up in the same end. So I love to look for what they can bring that I can't, and it's hard for entrepreneurs like ourselves to acknowledge that we're not the best at everything. It's just ingrained in our head. We just do things. That's who we are.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for us to go, hey, I need help. And more importantly is I need help, and I also really trust where you're gonna go. That's why I picked you. We've just started picking up One Piece. We've been carrying Lorcana since the start. And then the Star Wars Unlimited TCG has just come out.
Wow.
So those are our new 3.
One Piece is popping right now, right?
It has been
super
incredibly popular.
Wow.
Then board games.
Huge board game section, by the way.
It is.
Way bigger than I even realized. Have you been expanding this recently?
And it is kind of always in the art of expanding, but it always contracts too, because you sell stuff and you got to remember to go back and reorder it. So
do you have a lot of the folks who come here and like play these games at the tables along with like trades and stuff?
So we generally do on like Saturday, I believe we have a board game day, and we'll hope to add a weekday one. We'd like to at least have one weekday and one weekend time slot for everybody. We just started doing comic books. We're predominantly only doing graded stuff that comes in. We would love to consider going into new releases and pull boxes and those things, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It kind of goes into where you say like, is there opportunity? Sure. But if we can't do it well, the opportunity will be lost, and you get one chance. So we have to make sure that we're prepped for it all the way. And if you just start carrying comic books and you're not ready for it, you're gonna fail, in my opinion. So I think one of the biggest leads to failure is people aren't ready for its success. So we were doing video games for almost 2 years before we put the first one out. We were just buying them, stocking them up, keeping them in boxes, sorting them, getting an idea of what they priced for it that day, getting a price for what they priced for 2 years later when we did put them out.
Yeah.
So we were constantly tracking that for almost 1.5 years, almost 2 years, before we eventually even put it in the store, because we didn't want to walk in and throw 7 video games in a case and go, hey, we do video games. We knew we needed inventory before we even got going, or people like yourself would have walked in and go, nice try. And you'd have never come again.
But now instead, you have people like me walking in and being like, oh, wow, this is basically a video game store.
Yep.
Like huge pleasant surprise factor there.
Yes, that's what we aim for. So Star Wars, some miscellaneous Simpson figures, then you go into Power Rangers. There was a few other miscellaneouses there. Then you go into He-Man.
Amiibos, love it.
Yep. And then Transformers, Mask, which was one of mine from my childhood.
Okay.
Ninja Turtles. G.I. Joe's actually our newest section.
So premium Ninja Turtles figures too. Those are cool.
And then I guess at this point we kind of go into your bread and butter.
Yeah,
I knew you'd be excited to get here.
Let's go. Wow. Yeah, so this is a section that I'm very familiar with, and you didn't always, like the setup has changed somewhat recently, because so, like I don't think these shelves were even there.
They were not. They actually transitioned from over there and slid over to here because we really just had more than could fit. So now you're going to see some of the cabinets and go, oh, they're kind of empty. It is by design. Now, granted, we'd rather them be full than not, but they were full, but this didn't exist.
Yeah.
So you start transitioning your overflow. In this particular case, we tried to go price point. So our logic was if it was more than $5, we'd go cabinet. If it was under $5, it'd go on shelves. I would speculate that in the next 6 or 8 months, it will probably end up being $10 because our inventory won't match the space required. So you might end up with a shelf with $5 games, a shelf with $10 games, and then everything over 10 would be in the shelves. But that's where you can't predict. You just have to roll with however it plays out.
How does video games compare, like, as a part of the business to like cards? Like, what are the pros and cons?
I think the pros are, though condition is incredibly important, as a general rule of thumb, you either play the game or don't actually play the game. So as long as the disc works, there's at least some pro to it. I think that you get universal use out of video games. I think you can play it by yourself most of the time, and I think that's a massive advantage to a customer. You know, if a Magic deck or Yu-Gi-Oh deck or whatever, you probably need another person to play with. I think this is a great one-person opportunity that our store didn't provide before. I think some of the downfalls is there is a more likely chance the new game you buy is going to go down than it is going to go up.
Oh, interesting.
And that doesn't completely match what our business model has been.
Yeah.
So if you notice, we don't carry new games. We don't carry new consoles. We only carry what we feel can at least maintain the value you put into it. We don't want a disappointed customer that buys a whatever game. 3-6 months later, the next version comes out and that game goes from you paid $60 to no one wants it. Madden comes to mind as a $60, $70 whatever new game that every sports football person buys, and then 1 year later it's $1 because everyone wants the new one. I think that's the biggest downfall. That's kind of our start, and then as you round out the video games, you'll see some of our rare in-box or high-end stuff, that kind of the fun things, if you will.
Man, and I have to say, like it's hard to get this many complete in-box cardboard games. Like, I'm really impressed with your selection, especially given that it's only a part of what you have here.
That's a very small sample of what our store offers, but is a fairly large selection even compared to those that specialize in it. The biggest thing is when by the time we got into video games, we'd been in the market in Louisville for a decade. So one, we had lots of customers that played video games, so it's pretty easy to say, hey, now we're doing video games, bring in what you don't want. And two is we had a reputation for 10 years of paying fair and pricing fair.
The first question as we look at this, because we haven't really talked about the play space, or what do you call this, all these tables?
It is our play area. It is also used for sports people might open a box and sit there with their friends or kids and just open and trade or
sort their cards,
top load, whatever it is. But it is designed for you to have a space to basically do what you want. And as long as you're within the parameters at all of what we do. So we encourage you to come in here and trade. We encourage you to come in and play. We encourage you to test your at-home board game with our customers. We encourage all of those things. So that is what the play space for me is, which is kind of the irony of one of your questions, is kind of what always has the highest margin. Well, I don't think people turn around and really look at what our worst margin is can you fathom a retail store where the entire middle of the store has nothing for sale and you cannot profit off of it?
And also, this real estate is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really curious to ask you, like, from just a business perspective, do you think that like this space is positive or negative in the bottom line of the store? Because on one hand, you have the community, which is huge.
Absolutely. And I want to support them because they support me. You know, I don't want to take that away.
But it's also really expensive.
It's really expensive. It's really expensive. I think just adding up the cost of the tables and chairs alone would kind of drop people's jaw. Let alone its square footage monthly, plus it's a heating and cooling section, plus people that clean it every night for us, etc. In the end, it's two-part. You really do want to give the community what it needs and deserves. And I always use the word magic it's gathering. That's what makes it work. And I understand that they could buy all the cards and all the things from me, but if they don't have anywhere to play it and meet new people to play, then the game will die and it will not grow. And in the end, we're not here at all. So there's a legit argument that it's the most valuable space in the store, even though it brings in nothing. And I believe that, or I wouldn't have it. But there is still a realistic bottom line of it costs a ton to have this much empty space.
No kidding. Well, and I also want to say on a personal note, like, I'm really grateful that places like this exist, because on a whole, like, the studies are showing people are getting lonelier and lonelier. There's fewer and fewer places like this where you can come and like meet new people, right? And socialize and bond with people who are interested in the same things as you. Like,
you'll get into my fundamental belief that over the past several years, and you're seeing it, in brick and mortar malls and stores across the general is that you're seeing less and less in-person business or retail transactions.
Right.
And though I believe that is true, because obviously the data shows it to me, I can't argue with it. I can say that we've never had a year that we went less. We've only grown every year, and we attribute that to the fact that you can love cars, but if you don't have anybody to share it with, it doesn't do any good.
On the note of just doing the hardest thing, which is starting, if someone were to come to you and ask, Alex, I would love to get into the card space or sports cards or collectibles or whatever.
Sure.
What advice do you have? Should I open a store? Should I go another route? Or what words of wisdom do you have for that person?
I would ask them the same thing I would ask a family member, employee, best friend, whatever. I would say, what is your objective? And if your objective is to work from home, then I would say you probably should look at an online business. If your objective is to interact with as many people as possible and you want to have a place to go, which is key for me, I have a brick and mortar because I want a place to go. I want to get up in the morning, be at a place, leave at a place. I still need that structure that a traditional job provides, but I have to give it to myself. So that is where, you have to figure out who you are and fundamentally what you like. Because most people just go, own my own business, have a lot of money. And there's so many steps in between.
There's a lot in between that.
Anyone can say, I want to start a business. And anyone, I truly believe, can produce profit. I think how you're going to do and what you're going to do with it in between is fundamentally what happens.
Yeah.
And that's where you really have to, I don't believe in business plans. I don't really believe in okay, we did this much in sales this year and we're projecting this amount. This is what we're going to do it. That's not how my brain works. My brain works as kind of what you talk about, seeing opportunity and where it exists. So my advice to people that want to start a business is, just do it. Because you're never going to know if you don't.
Yeah.
Just do it. But two is make damn sure that's what you actually want. When the alarm goes off and somebody calls in and all these things happen, you know that's you.
And oftentimes, the only way to really know is to try. Right.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. There's no other way to find out if you like something or don't. It's called a first date.
Yeah.
Your first business is a first date with entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. And if someone came up to you and was like, I want to open specifically a card store in 2024, is that something that you genuinely recommend, or have people missed the boat on that?
I don't think anyone's missed the boat on any opportunity that they desire.
So we're here finally in the illustrious sports card section. I'm excited for you to start to take us through this.
There's a run of 1960 baseball sets from 1960 to 1976. Some older sealed product that we've been able to pick up in collections. Like we always tell everybody, if you're going to buy one box, buy two. One to open and enjoy, one to put in the closet and forget you have it. And this is a testament of how it just always goes up. Never hurts to buy a couple and throw one in the closet.
Yeah, it's true, because most of these are older than even the oldest MTG
So you're talking about
over there.
92, 93 is one of my favorite years because it was Shaquille O'Neal's rookie year and as a diehard LSU fan. But as a kid, that pack might have been $1 or $2. It might have been a $50, $60 box, and now it's $325.
Right. Got this gold bar box up here for $1,200.
Kobe Bryant's rookie year gold set. There's at some point where it goes down and then it'll go back up. You just have to ride it long enough.
Is that a hard thing about the card business, given that there are so many cycles, right? It does tend to be up and down, and there's hype and then there's crashes.
And that's going to be with anything. Now, our business is not built on the objective that things are going to go up. As a general rule of thumb, if you are in safe, proven players and popular cards and popular sets, over a period of time there's going to be less of it on the market, and as a history, everybody collects when it comes down to it. They may not collect what I collect, but everybody collects something.
Yeah.
That there will be more collectors as population just increases than there is items available. So it's just mathematically logical that it will go up. Now again, there's exceptions to every rule.
What are we looking at here?
So the middle two islands are all modern singles. So we generally define that as like current active players or recently retired Hall of Famers. So basically Kobe Bryant years to current, 1996 to current. If you turn to the other side, it is all vintage. Everything's divided by sport, and then you'll see our name comes shining through in this moment. It's through the decades. So 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, you'll go backwards through the decades.
Yep.
So football, then basketball, then baseball at the end. Our wall is divided in football, basketball, baseball, and it's sealed product generally from the past 2 or 3 years. Once it becomes more than a few years old, then we do run out of space. That's when they shift into those cabinets in the back that we showed you.
I'm interested what you were talking about earlier with people coming in here and looking specifically for product to flip, right? Like whether it's to grade or just like immediately. You've got all these value boxes out here for people to look through. What's your philosophy on like people coming here and looking for stuff specifically to make money on?
Have no problem with it. You come in here.
Right.
And probably make money off video games that you buy.
I try to when I do a good job.
We have no problem with it. It's one of the catch-22s. Whatever, 50% of our reviews were overpriced. But also remember, no one's ever going to leave a review going, holy stole that through the decades.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what our argument is we priced it when we got it based on what we paid for it, which we feel is a fair margin.
Yeah.
If it goes down, just let us know. It's not going to sell if we don't adjust the price.
You said something really interesting in a previous interview that you did.
Okay.
That you give all, or at least most of your employees full discretion to buy
absolutely
what they want, which
100%.
I thought was fascinating because that's a lot, that's a lot of responsibility.
There could be. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there are times when they ask for my expertise, or they'll ask for a fellow employee's or department head's expertise, but we do not have like a fine line of if it's over this amount or less than this amount, you can do it. Is it something that as we grow, we might have to do? Yes. I will never say that that's not possible.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I think we have hired people that have a fundamental understanding of the products that they're in charge of. And if I am, for lack of better words, micromanaging every step and every buy they do, well, then I might as well just do it myself.
Right.
And two, that our production would go way down because I can't do as much as 10 people can instead of just me. Like, it's crazy. I hired them because I know that they're an expert in that game or product line. Why in the world would I go over there and get in their way?
That's incredible. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for hiring the kinds of people that you don't need to micromanage. One of the things I always love to ask, because businesses in general, but especially collectibles businesses, it can be really easy to romanticize them. What would you say in this past 12 years?
Okay.
What comes to mind as your lowest moment, and how did you overcome it?
So the longest was kind of the opening and kind of the first 6 months of it was, I was working in New York. I had moved back home kind of just sporadically for a few months to kind of figure things out, not home, but back to Kentucky. And both of my parents were diagnosed with cancer, very similar times, within a month or so of each other. And that kind of put me in this position where it's like, now it's really not great for me to leave Louisville or the Lexington area. So it kind of turned into this like necessary, I need to do something to kind of stay home and close for the next year or so. So that was kind of, while I'm simultaneously opening the store and building my dream, I'm also having this low of, I am doing it because of necessity of needing to be close to home, making sure that financially everybody's responsible and taken care of. So that was a little bit of a low, but man, that first several weeks is really hard. And I don't think people talk about it enough. I don't think people—
Of opening a store?
Of just, because you think of it as the stress of your cleaning and doing everything because you're the only employee, but the real one is the brutal honesty of you sitting in there with not a single customer for minutes, hours, or days. And then someone walks in and you put on your shoes and you're all excited and you're helping them and they go, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. And they walk out.
Yeah.
And that's soul crushing I spent years in this area. And I knew many of the collectors and many of the dealers in the area. And all I heard was, Alex, we want you to open a store. We want you to open a store. You're our favorite vendor at shows and all of these things. And you open a store and you think, all right, it's day one. Where are all of you? And none of them show up.
Wow.
And then week one, you're like, okay, hey, so-and-so, I opened the store, maybe you haven't heard. And it's hard to change people's patterns. It's hard to change their habits. And most importantly is you are starting from scratch, whether they know you or not, you know? And it was brutal. There are still just days where you just go, oh my gosh, this is brutal slow, and it might be raining or it might be cold or school went back or school just got out or it's spring break and all of these things But there's something every day. Our greatest competition isn't other people in this business. We always say it's the new, World of Warcraft update. It's the new Marvel movie that comes out on a Friday night.
Wow.
Like, man, new Star Wars came out. We just rented the entire theater and took all of our customers on Thursday. A, to show them thanks, B, because I'm a Star Wars nut job, and 3, because this was the way we could get everyone at the theater for one day. We could sacrifice our Thursday night sales and still maintain the weekend because we knew all our customers had already seen the movie because I bought out the theater.
That's crazy.
So, but those are the things you learn over a period of time,
Wow.
And so there's ups and downs every day. About all you can do is we joke around and go, all you can do is get a McDouble and a large Coke. Because whenever I'm just having a bad day, I want a McDouble and a large Coke. And for you guys out there, put a little honey on that McDouble. I promise you it will change your freaking brain.
Dang,
it's so good.
You did not think you were getting McDonald's tips in this video today, folks.
That's my go-to. I'm having a crappy day.
Yeah.
And I just go get a McDouble, large Coke, and it lets you clear your brain for 10 minutes and go, it's not that bad.
I actually love that as a paradigm, just like a small reset. Like give yourself a little reward.
Little treat and just go, I'm a huge Wizard of Oz fan, everybody knows. I only watch it once a year.
Okay.
I only watch it. It's not a predetermined day or time. We did something that was unexpected, was something unbelievable. We came up with something new. We created a new line of product. We were able to do something that everyone said you couldn't do. And that night I'll go home and I'll watch The Wizard of Oz because whether it was real or not, or she was dreaming, I will never let people tell me that I can't do my dream. So it doesn't matter if it's real or fake, it only matters that she thought it was real. And so all I have to do is dream as big as I humanly can, find a bunch of people that believe in me, and we work together to accomplish it.
I can't think of a better way to end. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming
Folks,
in.
if you are in the Louisville area, come to Through the Decades.
Come twice. I like it. To the Decades.
To the Decades.
Means you come twice.
That's amazing. And if you want to see another video like this, check out this one right down here where I interviewed my friend Rick in his best game store maybe in the world.